Hey guys, how's it going? It's MrCrayfish and welcome back to my Redstone tutorials. In this tutorial today, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to build a vending machine. Now, I admit I've built some of these in the past. However, what's interesting is my knowledge of Redstone has grown over the years, and I look at some of my old stuff and I think I could have built that so much better. And this is basically what I've done with the vending machine. It is a brand new design and I feel like it's a lot better than the previous ones. But what are we waiting for? Let's go ahead, let's check it out here. So we're going to head over to my Cray Fine Foods over here, and we got a vending machine over here. Have a look at this. Hey there, young Greg. But have a look at this. This is the brand new vending machine, and as you can see, it actually kind of looks a little bit more like a vending machine. So we've got the display up here to see what items this is actually selling. So we got cheese and crackers, we got a fidget spinner, oh god, a fidget spinner. And then we've also got a toilet. That's kind of strange. That is pretty strange. But pretty much all we have to do here is first we're going to have to throw in an emerald. Now what is cool about this new design is you can actually chuck in all these emeralds, and then you can actually choose 64 items from this vending machine. So you could say, oh, I want 1 cheese and crackers, then I want 63 fidget spinners. You could do something like that. So we're going to go ahead and we're not going to chuck all these in. Let's chuck just 4 in at the moment. And when we actually chuck in the items here, it will give us a little indicator that we can actually start selecting items. So whenever this light is on, it means we can actually pick an item out. So I might want some cheese and crackers, and then what that's going to do is send that cheese and crackers into this shulker box below. So maybe I also want a fidget spinner, I want a toilet, and then I might also just get cheese and crackers here for the last one. So as you can see, I just bought 4 items here and the light has gone off because we only put 4 emeralds in. But just how easy is that? And I'm going to be teaching you guys how to build this today. Now if you guys enjoyed this Redstone tutorial today, make sure you remember to go ahead and snap that like button. We need it snapped right in half. If you want to keep up to date with all my latest Redstone tutorials, make sure you go ahead and subscribe as well. I suggest you press that post notification button so you definitely don't miss out on any new uploads. But let's go ahead and let's get into this tutorial now. So the materials that you are going to need is 23 redstone dust, 1 redstone torch, 7 redstone repeaters, 3 redstone comparators, 5 droppers, 6 hoppers, 6 sticky pistons, 1 redstone lamp, 3 buttons of your choice, I've just gone for the wooden ones, 1 chest, 3 minecarts with hoppers, 1 shulker box, 3 item frames, 3 glass panes, 3 slabs of your choice, I've just gone for the stone ones, and finally 64 blocks of your choice. Oh yeah. Now to position this a whole lot easier, we're just going to place down our hopper. So this is where you would throw the emeralds in to the vending machine here. So we're going to place ours right here. So dig a hole out, then place it in to that hole with the funnel facing downwards. Then what we need to do is dig a 5 wide by 9 long by 3 deep hole. Now where we actually start this is what you want to do is come to the block before the hopper here, then go 2 blocks to the left, dig out the one underneath, and then we're going to dig 4 blocks to the right here, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to go 8 towards the back, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 4 to the left, and then go back to the start here, dig out the center blocks, and then we simply just need to dig this down 2 more layers. Now I should mention, if you are struggling to keep up, make sure you go ahead and pause the video. So that was 1 layer, and let's go on to the next one here. Just a tip in case you didn't know, there's a pause button. Now you want to come to the front here and stand under the hopper facing towards the back. Then what you're going to do is place a block in front of you, so get your blocks of choice out, place a block down there, and on top of that block we're going to place a dropper facing towards the right. We're going to get our chest here, place it to the right of this dropper, so make sure you crouch and right click so you don't open up the GUI here. Then we're going to get a hopper here, crouch, right click the side of the dropper there, and now we've got the funnels going down and into the dropper. To the right of the dropper here, what we need to do is place a block of our choice, place it down here, and then we're going to place one to the right and then one above. We're then going to have a redstone comparator coming out of this hopper going into this block here. We're going to place a block to the right and then leave a gap and then place one more here. Get your redstone, and we're going to place one redstone here and then one down in the hole. On this block we're going to place a redstone torch on the back face of it, so it's right under this hopper here. Now make sure it's on this block, not on the ground there. Now get your blocks of choice, and to the left of this block here we're going to place 2 blocks. We're going to go one forward, then bring this up a block, and then also another one up, so it's kind of like stairs here, and then go 2 more blocks towards the back here. On those blocks we just placed, place redstone on top. Now come back down, and behind the dropper here we're going to place a block, and then place one down on the ground here just after it, and then we're going to get a redstone comparator, place it coming out of this block here facing towards the back. We're going to lead that into a block, which on top of that block place redstone, and then to the left and the right of this redstone dust place a block. So it's something like that. Come behind here, then we're going to place a block on the ground here. We're going to get a redstone repeater coming out of this block here facing towards the back. Then we're going to place 2 of our blocks of choice. We're going to lead the repeater into that block, and then one behind it like that. Redstone on top of those, and then one up to the top here. Now we'll come back to these 2 redstone wires later on. What we need to do now, then what we're going to do is place a block on top of this block here, and then one above the dropper here. We're going to place another one on top of this end one, and we're going to get our shulker box out. Place that on the front face of this block here, so it should be facing sideways when we actually open it up here. So as you can see, it's opening sideways, not upwards. We're going to destroy that block behind it, and then we're going to have a hopper going into the back of the shulker box, so make sure you crouch, then place it, and you should notice the funnel is going into it. Then we're going to place hoppers on either side of this hopper. So funnel should be leading into the middle one, then into the shulker box. On top of those hoppers, we're going to place redstone repeaters. So we're going to go crouch here and then go 1, 2, 3. We're going to get our sticky piston out, and then what you're going to do is crouch and then right click that comparator there. Then we're going to place a sticky piston to the left, or to the right and to the left of that one. Get our blocks of choice, place them on top of these sticky pistons. We're then going to place another line of blocks here. Get our redstone repeaters again and go 1, 2, 3. We're going to get our sticky pistons and place them behind those blocks. So 1, 2, 3. Blocks of choice on top. Then behind the pistons here, place 3 blocks, and then we're going to get 3 redstone, place them on top of those blocks, and you'll notice it's now connected to this redstone here. That is what we need. Now come back to the front here, and we actually need to build some of the interface before we can actually continue on here. So we need to place blocks all around the shulker box here. We also need to place one to the right of this repeater here, and then also the left one as well. We're going to place blocks above the repeaters here temporarily, so place 3 blocks above them. Then above those blocks, oh god. What we actually need to do now is get out a rail. Now this wasn't included in the materials, but grab out a rail here, and place it on this first block here. Get your hopper with minecart out, place it on top, and then destroy the block underneath. Then repeat this for the 2 remaining blocks. And then destroy the block, and then the last one here. Now before we continue on, this is a problem I did run into. If your minecarts are not facing long ways when you're looking towards the back of your contraption here, what you actually need to do is, instead of using 3 here, you want to use 2. So destroy the end one, and then what you want to do is position these in between the middle of the repeaters here. So push this one like that, so now it's kind of in the center of these 2 repeaters here. Then also do the same with this one as well. So let's just try and move that. Now why this is a problem is if you actually have 3 minecarts here long ways, you'll actually hear the noise of the minecarts, which is really annoying. So if yours are facing long ways in that direction, only use 2, but if yours do face long ways towards the back, you can use 3, but this here should still work. Now behind the minecarts, we're temporarily going to place 3 blocks right here. We're then going to get our droppers, place them on top of those 3 blocks, and then destroy them underneath. We're going to get our slabs out, place them on the top half of the block in front of the droppers. We're going to place redstone here on the middle slab, get out our redstone lamp, place that in front of it. We're then going to lead a comparator into that redstone, so place it on top of the dropper there, and it should connect up. We're then temporarily going to place a block on the middle here, and then we're going to place a dropper with a hopper going into the front face of it. Destroy the block underneath, make sure you do that. We're then going to place redstone on top of this hopper and 1 on top of the dropper. And we actually have to connect this redstone here to that redstone down there at the back. So we're going to come down here, block to the right, and then we're going to go up, and then up again, and then to the left, and then redstone here, redstone, 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 and now it is all connected up. Now come back to the front, and what we're going to do now is we're going to get out our item frames, place them on in front of the 3 slabs there. If you want, what you can do now is configure your vending machine, so you want to put in the items. So you would do this before you actually do the glass panes, but I'm just going to do it now just because. So place your 3 glass panes in front of the item frames. Then get your 3 wooden buttons and place them on these 3 blocks which are above the shulker box there. Now we're almost done here. What we've got to do now is configure this vending machine. So this is where you can choose what the currency of the vending machine was. Now in the example I use emeralds, and that is what I'm going to do right now. So what we're going to need to do is get out 18 emeralds. Now if you want to choose your currency, make sure it is an item that can stack up to 64 like an emerald can. In that case you could use anything else, so you could use diamonds, you could use iron, but I'm just going to use emeralds. So grab 18 of them, and then we're going to get 4 cobblestone because that's a pretty cheap material. Then get an anvil as well, and what we need to do is rename those 4 cobblestone to a really random name. So just do something really crazy in your keyboard, something that nobody would actually guess. Then rename it, and then what we need to do is go to this bottom hopper here, place the 18 emeralds in the first slot, and then the 4 cobblestone in the 4 remaining slots. And they should stay in the hopper there, even though they're pointed to go into the dropper here. Also need to place an item in this dropper at the back here, so place that into there, and we're pretty much good to go. So let's test this out real quickly just to make sure it works. So if we throw an emerald in there, as you can see, the light at the top there is now on. If we actually press one of these buttons, it should turn off. Let's just double check it works with 2 items. So let's chuck 2 emeralds in, and we should be able to press these buttons twice. So 1 and 2, and there we go. It now goes off. Then finally, the last thing you might want to do is prettify this. So we're actually going to put some logs on the side here. We're going to have 2 like that. And then we'll get out just some cobblestone here. 2 on the ends there. And then we can also cover this all at the front here. You don't have to worry about cutting off any redstone, which is really nice. And there we go, there is our vending machine. But now I'm going to teach you guys how this actually works. Now how this actually works is not too difficult. I'm gonna say that, it's not too difficult. So let's start with the input here. So we throw an item into this hopper here, and what we have below it is an item filter. So this is only going to allow items which are emeralds. Now it could allow cobblestone, but it has to be cobblestone named this, and the chances of somebody actually guessing that is little to pretty much 0. It's kind of like passwords. No one's gonna be able to guess a password that random. But if you actually throw an emerald in, it's going to allow it to filter in, and this comparator here is detecting basically how many items are in this hopper. Now currently it is only outputting a signal strength of 1, but once 19 emeralds are in there, it's going to send out a signal strength of 2. What that does is it powers this redstone here, powers that block, turns off this redstone, and allows that 1 emerald to go into this dropper here. Now we'll come back to that in a second here. Let's go back up to the top here. Now when we actually press these buttons, it actually powers the redstone repeater behind it. Now as you can see, these redstone repeaters are pointing into nothing, and the idea is we want to be able to power these droppers above, which send the items to the player. Now how that happens is these pistons down here, so these are powered when there is an item in this dropper. So if it successfully went through these hoppers here and there's one in there, then this comparator is going to detect that. It's going to send a signal into this block here, which has redstone on top, so it powers this piston here, powers these 2 blocks to the side, which also power those other pistons. Those push those blocks up here, and now that you can see that, so if I go ahead and I put emerald in there, those blocks are up. So these, when pressing these buttons, they do make sense now because they're going to be powering these droppers above, but they also power these repeaters here, and this is where it actually removes an emerald from this dropper below. So as you can see, we've currently got 1 in there. If we were to press this button, it's going to send a signal through here. Now what this here is a quick pulsar, and this pretty much prevents people from pressing 2 buttons at the same time, because if we actually press this button here, this redstone would stay on. However, we just want it to quickly pulse with a signal of redstone so it can remove one of these emeralds from the dropper down there quickly. So it will send a signal out, so let's go ahead, let's do it now. And watch the redstone here. That was really hard to catch, but it quickly flashed on. It put this emerald that was in that dropper there into the chest over to the right of it, and then we would also get our item, which is collected, which is shot out by these droppers. These minecart with hoppers picks it up. The hoppers below suck the items out of the minecarts there, and that all leads into the shulker box at the front here. Then finally, for this indicator light at the top here, we're simply using the signal from this comparator here, which is checking if there's any emeralds in that dropper. If there is, send a signal out, powers this repeater, powers that redstone, which comes up to the top here. Now this is quite interesting because it's kind of a strange way I've had to do this, and it's in order to fight a bug in Minecraft. Well, it's kind of a feature in the PC version. It doesn't exist in the Pocket Edition or Console Edition, but there's this thing called quasi connectivity, and I'm not going to explain it, but this pretty much just prevents it. So what happens here is we shoot an item out, this stone for instance, into this hopper here. Now this redstone here is going to stay powered as long as there is an item in that dropper. So let's just quickly do that. So what it just did is it shot that item from the dropper here into the hopper. Now that item's going to stay there because this redstone here is powering that hopper. It can't go back into the dropper over here. We have a comparator which is detecting the item in that hopper, sends a signal out, and then powers this block here. Strange, but that's the only way you can actually do this in the PC version. Console edition, you shouldn't have any problems, but still probably just use this way anyway. Then finally, what we can do to this machine is add in our items. So simply just, you want to replace the glass here. We're going to put in some items. So I'm not going to fuss here. I'm just going to get out some dies, place them in the frames here. Then in the droppers behind each item frame, place in the items. Now make sure you put them in the right ones. Replace our glass. Now let's quickly just test this out. So we get an emerald, pop it in, pop it in. Oh, I think there's already one in there. We can get a die here, and then we might also get a blue one as well. As you can see inside here, we got the yellow, and we've also got the light blue dandelion. So that's going to end off this redstone tutorial. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you haven't already, make sure you go ahead and snap that like button. Then go ahead and check out one of these videos. This one on the left here is another redstone tutorial. Then the one on the right is a video personalized for you. But I will see you guys later. Bye!